Welcome to another killer episode of Engine Noise. Today, Matt and I are going to talk about VIN numbers.
There are so many numbers.
17.
What do they mean?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
All right, we're also going to talk about some ratty muscle cars and why they are the future.
Turn us up and tune in. Do you need to tune in a podcast?
Nah, I think you just hit the play button. Engine Noise Podcast is brought to you by oneauto.com. Quality auto parts that ship quickly and come with thousands of free online videos that can walk you through your installs.
Also, I want to talk about this free shipping thing. Nobody's doing that. What about the heavy stuff?
Yeah, that has free shipping. That's pretty much just what it is.
Wow.
Free.
So, great prices, customer service that is located right here in the US, free online videos that show you how to install, and free shipping even for the super heavy parts.
Yep, oneauto.com. Quality auto parts and thousands of free online videos and free shipping even for the heavy stuff.
Nice.
Are you ready to get crazy, Matt?
Sorry, I was drinking my root beer.
Hey, welcome to Engine Noise Podcast for do-it-yourselfers like me who don't mind getting their hands dirty. I'm your car guy, Jeremy Nutt.
And I'm Matt, the guy that brings the fire to the show. The pizzazz, the flavor. I spice it up.
I don't even know how to respond to that, Matt. Okay, you can tell a lot about a person by listening to their playlist, Matt.
Oh, I know.
But you know what else? You can tell a lot about a car by looking at a VIN number.
Oh, yeah?
And when I say VIN number, it's sort of dumb to say it that way because VIN is Vehicle Identification Number.
Automatic teller machine.
Exactly. Today, I'm hoping to talk about VIN numbers because they are sort of fascinating to me and they're really helpful if you're shopping for cars or looking at cars in a junkyard or if you're just like at a car show or maybe a mall parking lot and you want to know what year a car is. Do you ever do that?
Never.
You don't have that problem.
I don't have that problem.
All right. You don't want to know if it's like a Z engine or a W engine? Or...
No, I look at it, I'm like, oh, I like the shape and the color.
I guess we have different lifestyles, Matt.
I guess so.
Let me give you a fact about VINs.
Let's hear it.
The first fact is that every VIN after 1981 is 17 digits and it is missing the letters I, O, and Q. Because they look too much like ones and zeros, and U's and Z's aren't used for the 10th digit for some reason, though I don't have any idea why. It's kind of
Probably
a weird...
because Z is a weird letter.
Yeah, who the heck wants a Z in their 10th digit?
Nobody wants a Z.
So in 1981, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, they forced the standardization of VINs so that all vehicles would have 17-digit numbers on their dash and stamped into their fenders and, all that stuff. Before that, all the different manufacturers could have as many or as little digits in their VIN as they wanted. And this was problematic because the Registry of Motor Vehicles in the United States, they didn't know what year the car was based on the VIN or what kind of car it was, blah, blah, blah. It was just a pain.
Problem.
So in 1981, they fixed that. The first three digits of a VIN number are what is known as the WMI. More acronyms, Matt.
All right.
You pumped?
Yeah.
WMI is World Manufacturer Identifier. It's basically a group of numbers/letters that cover the country of origin, so basically where the car was made. The second digit is the manufacturer, so like Ford, Honda, Chevy, Dodge.
Got it.
Third digit is the division. Look at it as General Motors makes a whole bunch of different vehicles. They make Buicks, Chevys, Oldsmobiles, Saturns. So the division would be Saturn, or the division would be Buick. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The first digit within those first three is actually a really cool one to look at because you know where it was made. And that actually comes up a lot when you're buying auto parts. If you are buying a part for a Toyota Camry, that is like one of the things that comes up every time. They want to know if it's made in Japan or if it's made in the US. It actually makes a difference for the mirrors that you buy and a fairly high percentage of other parts that you buy for Camrys.
Really?
Yeah, they look like the same car, but they actually have slightly different mirrors and a bunch of different other parts. Built totally differently.
Wow.
Yeah, weird, right?
Interesting.
Moving on, we have the fourth digit, which identifies safety, braking, suspension options. We have the fifth digit. This is actually my favorite digit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it is. The series of the vehicle. Have you ever heard of a Chevy C10 truck? Or a K1500?
I've heard of a K1500. Yep.
Okay. C means two-wheel drive. K means four-wheel drive.
Oh.
Then there's like R 1500s or V 1500s. There's also like a Dodge D150. They're all designating the series of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot you can tell just by knowing the fifth digit of the VIN number.
Okay.
You know it's two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, at least in the Chevy truck world or GM truck world. But there's a lot of different vehicles that are like this. If you know the baseline letters to look for, you can often tell a lot about the vehicle. Sixth and seventh digits is the body style. So that'll tell you two-door, four-door, coupe, sedan, convertible, hatchback, GT, SS, fancy bits about the body style of the vehicle. The eighth digit is the engine.
How is this not your favorite?
I know. It seems like it should be.
Yeah.
So the eighth digit gives you engine information, but it's usually like a letter, and you have to know what that letter means. This is a super common thing when you're buying parts for a General Motors 4.3-liter engine, because in the 1990s and late 80s, they had two different 4.3-liter engines in General Motors vehicles. There were Z engines and W engines, and they're both the same engine with different parts attached to them, which is crazy. I don't know.
Why would they do that?
I have no idea. It's a lot like the Toyota Camry thing, Japanese and US versions, where they just have different parts. I have no idea. It's almost like they had like two different assembly plants or something with a bunch of mix-match parts, and they were just like, yeah, well, throw a few of these on there, a couple of those.
That'll do it.
Toss them all together, and voila. Now it's a Z engine instead of a W engine. What's something you want to know about VINs, Matt? Have you ever looked at a VIN and thought, what the hell does this mean?
I have always thought it was like almost like a registration number where
Yeah.
it's a randomly generated number, but I didn't know that each individual one stood for.
Yeah.
It's really smart, actually.
It
It's
is.
a really cool thing.
That's pretty much why they did it. Somebody along the way said, hey, this is a great idea. Why don't we do this? It's actually been a really well laid out system. All the letters and numbers actually mean something about that specific vehicle, except for the ninth digit. That is the one that has nothing to do with the car.
It's just filler. Why is it there?
You can blame Einstein for this one. It's called a check digit. It's a number that is generated with some math that legitimizes the rest of the numbers in the whole VIN. So,
What?
okay, let me try and make sense of this. Imagine you have a VIN number, and I just said it again, VIN number.
Yeah.
You take this VIN and you run it through this complicated math. And it's like you take the fifth digit and you multiply it by the 10th digit and you subtract the second digit and then you divide it by 7 and then you add 6. Yeah. After that, you get some number. That number is the ninth digit.
Why not just not have the ninth digit?
Because it makes the whole thing legit. So if that UPC numbers actually work the same way.
So you can't make something up?
Yeah. And that's the way UPC numbers work too. So if you look on your Cheerios in the morning, you see the UPC. UPCs have a check digit in them as well, so that you can't fake a UPC number. All the math has to add up right for it to be a legit number.
Okay.
It was like a way of double checking the math and make sure that the whole number makes sense. I don't know. I read some history on it somewhere, and it was kind of fascinating. I think it was about 2011, actually. I was doing a little research on VINs. That's what I do sometimes.
Doing some research on VINs.
Yeah, sitting by the fire, researching some VINs. It sort of became a thing around the Einstein era because he was a big fan of it. And then before long, it's in VINs. And that's why we're on to the 10th digit, Matt. Are you ready for the 10th?
Bring it on.
Okay, I'm going to call this my second favorite digit. It could be the second, could be the third.
The engine is not your first, and it's not even your second.
I really like the body style because it's just cool.
Okay, what's the 10th digit?
The year of the vehicle. This is a really cool one if you're in a junkyard and let's say you're looking at a Camaro, a third-gen Camaro.
Yeah.
Third-gen Camaros are made from 1982 to 92. And maybe you need a specific part for a 1988. And this Camaro in the junkyard, it's halfway apart. You can't really tell what year it is. So you walk up, you look at the VIN. 10th digit's a J. J means it's 1988. Sweet. I now have my 1988 Camaro parts.
How do you know that a J is...
Because there is a chart, of course.
Okay.
It tells you what year is what number or letter. For example, in 1980, they started with letter A. And then 81 is B, 82 is C. We could go through the whole alphabet if you want.
No, that's fine. We don't have that much time.
And then in 2000, they ended with Y. I don't know what they have against Z's. And then we went to 2001 was a number 1. 2002 was a number 2. And that went up to 9 in 2009. And then in 2010, they started with A again.
This is pretty confusing.
Yeah, I know. So there's a chart that you can find anywhere on the internet. You just type in, VIN, 10th digit chart. Just search for it, you'll find it.
So an A could be a 1980 or it could be a 2010. 2010?
Yep, you got it.
So you just have to know by
looking at the car. You have to kind of know. I mean, is this a 1980 or 2010? You can probably figure it out. Yeah. I think you got it. 11 is not my favorite digit. It identifies the plant code. It's sort of a boring one. I think the only people who care about this are like Corvette owners because Corvettes are made in Bowling Green, or I think at least a lot of them are. Yeah. And this tells that the manufacturer plant was Bowling Green, Kentucky, or whatever the location is, Detroit, Michigan, or Lansing, Michigan.
Like the letters on a penny.
Yeah, same thing. Next up, we have the 12th to 17th digits. We're just merging them all together. We're lumping we're grouping them.
It's the first letters of the names of the people who built the car.
Yes. Eddie and Gene and John.
Couldn't be a Zach.
No
Zachs ever made any cars.
No. So the 12th to the 17th digits are actually the sequential number in which the car was built. Most manufacturers start with the number 100001, and then they just start adding digits onto that. So it's just the next sequential in the line. The next car comes off the line, you get number 2. The next car comes off, you get number 3. And it just goes up until the production run is done. You can kind of get an idea of how many of that vehicle were made by looking at the last, 5 digits? 6 digits? I don't know, whatever that is. Whatever math.
Something like that.
I'm not Einstein. I'm just a car guy. But this number is actually important. Again, when you're buying car parts, you need these numbers if you have often a Ford truck. They're big on changing the production of the vehicle halfway through the run. They'll make a Ford truck, and then after they make 20,000 of them, they'll just be like, well, we're just going to change it a little bit. They're going to put all kinds of different parts on it. And although it's still like a 2007 Ford truck, or Ford F-150.
Just wait until 2008.
Yeah, they just don't do it. So they split it, and then you have to know where in your production run your car was, or truck was, so that you get the right parts for it. In reality, a lot of these numbers do actually matter when you're buying car parts, but some vehicles are more finicky than others. Like the Ford trucks with knowing the VIN numbers, the Chevy S10 trucks and S10 Blazers, you got to know the 4.3 liter Z and W engines. In the 1980s, you have the CK, RV, WD pickup trucks from Dodge and Chevy and GMC. I'd say that pretty much wraps it up. VINs are a really cool thing to know. If you really focus on a couple of main factors like the first digit, the 5th digit, the 8th, and the 10th, the rest of it, you don't need it so much. But the year's cool, the engine's cool, the body style's cool, and the country of origin. Those are kind of the ones to stick to.
For people out there who wouldn't know what a VIN number is or where to find it, why don't you let them know?
Assuming you're in the United States, the VIN is right at the bottom of your windshield, basically. Right where your windshield meets your car, at the bottom, in front of your steering wheel. It's also on a sticker in your door jamb of your driver's side door. It's sometimes in your glove compartment on a sticker. A lot of new cars come with the VIN etched into the glass, the very bottom of your door glass. But generally, you look in the top of the dashboard, right at the bottom of the windshield.
So if I want to do some work on my car, I should probably know where the VIN is and figure that out and use that when I'm ordering parts.
It really kind of depends. Engine parts, it probably matters more. I would say like EGR valves often have VIN numbers associated with them where they need to know, like, do you have the W or the Z engine or whatever it may be. So yeah, there's a lot of engine parts that are VIN specific. There's a lot of parts that have no relation whatsoever to a VIN. Like headlights and taillights often don't matter. The one exception to that is when they do the new body style and old body style trucks, like in 2007, General Motors decided, we're going to sell an old style truck and a new style truck. They're both going to be like 2007 Chevy Silverados, but one has the old body style, one has the new body style. It makes it really difficult to buy parts for that specific year truck. I actually have a really great diagram here that tells me which letters and which numbers match up to which years.
A cheat sheet.
Basically.
Talking all this game.
Yep.
Is it just going to go in a parking lot and look at cars?
Well, now that I have a smartphone, I don't really need to keep it in my wallet. Before that, I kind of did. That's nerdy. We're going to go ahead and post this awesome chart on our social media so that you can print it out and put it in your wallet as well.
And be a nerd just like Jeremy. You know what I can't stand, Jeremy?
What's that, Matt?
When I go to a website and it just doesn't work.
I am with you.
I do not have that problem with 1A Auto. It's so easy to use. You go on there, you put your year, make, and model in the search tabs, put whatever you're searching for, and it comes up. It shows you the vehicle fit, the specs. Just click the button, check out, PayPal, whatever you want to do. Make your own account, have all your vehicles in there. It's just so easy. I love it.
You know what I love? The fact that they have pictures for everything.
Yeah.
You know how many websites I go on and they don't even have pictures for the product you're trying to buy?
Yeah. It's like it's 1998.
What the heck is up with that?
I don't know.
One Auto does not have that problem. All of their parts have pictures of the actual part.
And when you get the part, it looks like the picture.
I know. Who would have thought, right?
Crazy.
The other thing that I like about One Auto, when you add the part to the cart, it confirms that you have a vehicle that matches that part. That way you know that what you're buying is the right part for your car. They guarantee it, which is pretty great. Free shipping, the great prices, the fast shipping, the website works, and they have pictures that are the parts you're actually buying. That's something that not everybody has, but One Auto certainly does. OneAuto.com. Great parts, great prices.
Great website.
Great website. Hey, Matt, I got a theory about cars.
I'm sure you have plenty of theories.
I got a lot of theories. I got more theories, but I got a theory about ratty muscle cars being the future of cars.
That's a bold statement.
Overall,
Very bold
they're
statement.
the future. So let me just run it down for you.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I want to hear this. Yep.
One of my friends is at the Barrett-Jackson auction right now as we're podcasting.
Ooh.
So the Barrett-Jackson auction is a place where all kinds of cars go and they get sold because it's an auction. So throughout today, he's been sending me some pictures and video. He's like, why is this car going for so much money? It has no business selling for this price. It's crazy. And it is. The prices that these things are going for are insane. Like, if you went on Craigslist right now and tried to buy some of these cars, you'd get them at half the price that they're selling for at the Barrett-Jackson auction. I have no idea why they're so expensive. This brings me back to my ratty muscle car idea. What it comes down to is, I think that muscle cars are so insanely expensive right now, no average person can afford them. I think they're basically all being bought up by collectors that just put them in warehouses and let them collect or lose value depending on the car. That leaves the ratty muscle cars for me and my friends.
Yep.
I think that is why ratty muscle cars are the future. They're basically cars that you pull out of yards that are left in the bushes for the last 20 years, and they're not worth enough money to actually restore and make it a bazillion-dollar car because they need way too much money and effort involved. But you can get them drivable and halfway safe for a reasonable amount of money and have a ratty muscle car that's pretty rad.
This is starting to make sense now.
Since I can't go out and buy a 70 Chevelle right now that is actually nice, because it's going to be $20,000 to $25,000 for one with like a small block Chevy engine and like an automatic transmission, which are two things that I don't want. But if I wanted a 70 Chevelle that had some rotted quarter panels and no engine, now we're talking.
Yeah.
You may pay like $3,000 and you got a rusty version. You throw some new brake lines on it. You do all new brakes and suspension bushings. You drop some sort of LS engine in it because I LS everything.
Of course.
Maybe a Muncie 4-speed transmission that you got from your friend's garage.
Hey, what do you know?
You throw it together, you do some burnouts, you take it to the track, and you impress your friends. In the end, what do you have? $5,000 into it, and you get a 70 Chevelle.
Pretty sweet.
I think ratty muscle cars are the future.
I think this podcast should have been called the Burnout Podcast. I think you're obsessed with burnouts.
I know. I just
Everything you talk about.
I just want to drive
it
fast.
ends with and do some burnouts.
Exactly. Most of my life ends with maybe we should just do some burnouts. That's I'd say a good portion of my life is that. That's my theory. What do you think?
You know, it actually makes a lot of sense.
So you're totally convinced?
Not totally convinced.
Okay.
But,
All right.
You know,
yeah. I mean, well, I'll take that.
I'll support your theory, though.
I appreciate that, Matt.
If anybody out there has a ratty muscle car they want people to see, we'll show it. Send it to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or enginenoisepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll throw it up for you.
Or even if it's not a ratty muscle car and you just want to show us your car,
Send it over.
Send it to us. Yep. We want to check it out.
Speaking of ratty muscle cars, what is going on with the Le Mans, Jeremy?
Okay.
Oh, I don't like
I know.
that.
It
That
started with a
doesn't sound-
sigh.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very positive.
Not good. I've been messing around with the exhaust on it. I'm trying to build an exhaust system from pretty much from scratch. I basically went out and bought a bunch of 2.5-inch pipe, and I bought 2 mufflers. I'm pretty much just building a exhaust system from a bunch of random pipe. And it's taking so long.
Is it exhausting?
Ah, you had to, Matt, didn't you?
I did.
So yes, it is completely exhausting. That's the battle that I'm going with right now is I'm probably like 90% done with the exhaust. The last piece that I just welded, I welded it wrong and then I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And I kind of like threw my tools on the ground and like said, I'm going home. So just before that happened, I ordered a intake pipe and filter for a Chevy Silverado. Can you believe it will not fit?
You don't say.
Yeah. The Silverado intake does not fit on my Le Mans, which I was so disappointed with.
But it has a Silverado engine in it, right?
It does, yeah.
So,
But the thing just fits horribly. I got it on eBay. It's supposed to just be like a 4-inch intake for a Silverado. It's like the most basic thing on earth, and it could not possibly fit any worse. Like, I don't know how somebody screwed this up so much. But the problem is, I've now owned this thing for like a month. I bought it a while ago. And I feel like I'm too late to try and return it.
Well, you didn't check the VIN?
I did not check the VIN, Matt. Wow. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the combination of the intake fitting terribly and the exhaust being welded wrong, it was probably a little late at night and maybe I shouldn't have been working on the car that day.
Sometimes you just got to throw in the towel for a week.
So I threw in the towel for a week. I'm hoping to get back out there this Sunday. Cut the exhaust up again and try and get that fitted right. And then I'm going to have to cut up the intake too and weld the intake at completely different angles than what it currently is.
So you're going to make that work.
Yeah, I'm going to make it work. It's just going to require like 100 times the work that I had anticipated when I purchased it for the whopping price of like $39.
It's good to know that there's still progress being made.
That's true. There is definitely progress. There's a lot of spiders on it. That's what there is.
Oh, yeah?
You wouldn't even believe how many spiders.
It's that yellow color. They just
I think
attracted
it is.
to it.
It's crazy. Like you leave it for a few days and then you slide under it on a creeper, which a creeper makes a lot of sense now when you're talking spiders. Huh. What's that movie from like 80s? Arachnophobia or something like that? You cruise under the car and it's just all spider webs everywhere and you're not sure where the spider is. And you're like, uh-oh, is the spider on my neck? Is it in my shirt? Is it in my pocket? I don't know where it is. And then you just assume the spiders are all over you for the next 2 hours when you're working on the car.
Yeah, you feel like that.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Wish they could work on cars. Imagine how fast they could work on my Le Mans.
Oh, yeah. Web that Le Mans right up.
Yeah. Cut it and weld it. And they have 8 arms.
Jeremy, we got a ton of emails from listeners. You want to tackle some of those?
Yeah. Hit me with one. Oh, and if anyone else has questions for me or Matt, anything at all, car diagnosis, problem-solving questions, wondering what our favorite candy is, we can answer any of that. So just email the Engine Noise Podcast at engine-noise-podcast@gmail.com. Okay, Matt, I'm ready.
Are you sure? Because you said you were ready before.
Yeah, I think I'm ready now.
Okay. Emily says, "Hey guys, I'm a middle-aged mom, and I've never done a donut, and I've never done a burnout." I know you can't believe that, Jeremy.
I can't believe it doesn't even register in my brain.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it until you talked about melting tires on the Le Mans episode.
Yep.
Maybe I should put that on my bucket list. But unlike you, I only have one car, and I don't want to mess it up. So tell me, will it damage my car if I try these stunts?
Yes. You're going to break stuff.
Okay.
That's the short version. Here's what I would do. If you live in a place where there's snow in the wintertime, find a big empty parking lot. On a snowy day, get there safely, wear your seatbelt, and just get crazy. Just cut the wheel all the way and just start ripping the gas. There's some risk involved. You may, blow your head gasket or, break an axle. There's some risk.
Cop might come over and say, "What are you doing?"
Exactly. But without risk, there's no reward, Matt.
That's true, yeah.
So you're going to want to do those donuts in a snowy parking lot. You're not going to get the smoky awesomeness that you'd get on dry pavement in a snowy parking lot.
Yeah.
What you'd probably want to do if you want to do some burnouts is maybe do them in dirt, and then you'd have less chance of blowing stuff up on your car. You'd still get some of the satisfaction of driving like an animal.
Be all dusty.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool.
When I was in high school, one of my good friends had a 1980 Celica. We used to take that off-roading every single day, and it was amazing. There was a sand pit near my house, and we would take turns drifting it through the sand pits and like jumping it off stuff.
Excuse me, Jeremy. Our lawyers would like to speak with you for just 1 second. He'll be right back, everyone. Just sit tight.
Emily, don't blow up your car.
It's terrible advice.
That's bad advice, Matt.
Don't do that.
Do not
That's what he
do
was
that.
saying.
All right, Matt. So I have a listener question from Phil. Phil is a new homeowner and looking for a truck. I feel like he is speaking your lingo because you're already doing the projects that I think he is about to start. The question from him is, what kind of truck should he get as a new homeowner that's just trying to get to the hardware store, get some lumber, fix things around the house, move lawnmowers around, that sort of thing?
I have a few thoughts on this, Jeremy.
Okay, good.
This is what I would want. I would suggest a smaller truck, one that's good on gas, can get in and out of tight parking spaces or downtown areas. One with a back rack, preferably, so you could carry longer pieces of lumber. Good for tailgating, camping. You could throw a tow package on there if you want. You could tow stuff around, strong enough, but not too strong. In summation, basically, I need you to buy a Toyota Tacoma, brand new 4x4, silver with a back rack, towing package, and then you can just give it to me.
That sounds like a pretty good deal for you, Matt. He makes the payments, you get the truck.
Yep.
Great advice, Matt.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Engine Noise, a podcast brought to you by 1AAuto.com. Quality auto parts that ship free and have thousands of how-to videos to walk you through your installs. Thank you to our producer, Jamie Prohaska, our editor, Patty Ford, and our marketing manager, Kristen Fitzpatrick.
Thanks, everyone. We'll have another great episode of Engine Noise drop in 2 weeks. Be sure to subscribe so that you will be notified every time one of our awesome episodes drops. And remember to like, follow, and share us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, continue to do it yourself.
Put some spit?
Yeah, put some
Wait.
spit on it.
Really? Wait. I don't want to say that.
Just put
Spit on it.
put some spit on it.
Check out some VIN numbers and some parking lots like a creep. You'll never catch me.
I'm like a slippery pig.
This Engine Noise podcast is brought to you by 1AAuto.com. Hit the subscribe button now and stay up to date with all the new episodes. Have a question for Jeremy or Matt? We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at enginenoisepodcast@gmail.com.
I was thinking we should write a rap, Matt.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I think that we should write a rap about 1A Auto parts.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Are you being for serious?
I'm a little serious and a little not serious. I'm not really sure. I'm only serious if you like the idea. We would need
a lot of things rhyme with auto.
I know. We would need a fat beat.
Oh, we can get a fat beat.
I want to rhyme like Busta Rhymes. Is that too fast?
It's a little fast.
Yeah.